Welcome to the Geekz 31 Days of Horror for Halloween. This is Lil.
And this is Steve.
And tonight we're reviewing The Exorcist Believer from 2023. So for those of you who have not been with us before, we will play for you our rating system. 3, 2, 1. When two girls disappear into the woods and return 3 days later with no memory of what happened to them, the father of one girl seeks out Chris McNeil, who has forever been altered by what happened to her daughter, Reagan. Okay, sure. The stars, Leslie Odom Jr., a bunch of other people I don't really remember from, but I guess. So, Steve, what do you think of Exorcist Believer?
Oh, it was shit. Let's get that out of the way.
Okay.
Right out of the way. This movie is coming up against some steep competition this year. We have gone deep this year in religious horror movies.
We did.
And quite a few. Had some good ones, had some not so good ones, had some great ones though. And this doesn't hold a candle to something like The Pope's Exorcist. it just doesn't. It doesn't hold it. This should not be called The Exorcist. The fact that they brought back in Reagan's mom, it felt like a cash grab. It felt unnecessary. Her character did nothing. I mean, she did have, I would argue, might be the coolest scene in the whole movie. But it's a very small thing, but like her character doesn't really, it's just her character is in a thing that happens. It's not like she does anything. There is a part of this movie that I really liked. I really kind of enjoyed the girls being lost in the woods and like what happened. Unfortunately, we'll get to that, but like,
I did not as a parent, but
but that felt
yes.
real. It felt scary. It felt like, okay, I like the direction we're going here. And then we get the possession part, and all of that was terrible. I don't think it's a problem with the actresses. I thought the little girls both did fine. I just think the material was bad. They didn't do anything. They didn't have a classic Exorcist scene. They didn't have anything. I mean, it was bad. It was just not executed well. And then it just kind of resolves. And then
does it? I mean,
and then it just kind of ends.
I think it just kind of ends. I don't know about it resolved.
And then I'm just sitting here super confused as to why David Gordon Green keeps saying I'm making direct sequels and I'm bringing back the original actress, and it not be good. That being said, like I really liked the first Halloween movie that he did. Like I liked
the first Halloween.
I even liked the second one. I did. I liked Halloween Kills.
I liked it, but I didn't love it.
It doesn't matter. I didn't love a lot of the Halloween movies, but I liked it. I liked it enough. But then that third one was not good, and it just continued that trajectory into this. This was not good. This movie, I think,
and we were both excited for it.
The trailer was great. The trailer looked really good.
You know what? The haunted house at the Universal Studios, fucking awesome. I went into that haunted house seeing this shit, and I'm like, oh my God, if this haunted house, my kids were terrified. They were the most terrified in that haunted house for Exorcist Believer with the stuff going on in there. And I'm like, man, if it's like anything like this is going to be great. And I had one of my friends who watched it, and he's like, I liked it. He's like, I liked it. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I trust your opinion. And I do. Love you, Robert. I know you're going to watch this. But I didn't like it. Steve, I didn't even let you give it a rating.
I mean, as it sits, it's probably a low sidekick, but like I think the fact that they put the Exorcist name on it and decided they were just going to shit on all the Exorcist movies that came out after the first one and declare this as the direct sequel, that pushes them into zero category. Like you fuck around and find out, man.
Well, here's the thing. I don't care about the Exorcist period. The IP, I like the first one for what it was.
It's a horror icon, man.
I like the first one more for the behind the scenes stuff and what they did with filming it. You know, like the little shots of throwing in the thing.
All the practical effects.
It was never scary to me. I remember I used to watch it going to sleep. Like to me, like it was not scary. I do have this one bit of trivia that's on IMDb I have to read because it's hilarious to me. And William Fredrickson, you know, Friedkin, sorry.
Fredrickson.
Yes, I'm seeing double and I don't have my glasses on, so I apologize. I'm trying to read. So he
Philistine.
had Ed Whitfield was a film critic and talked to him, and he said that William once said to him, "Ed, the guy who made those new Halloween sequels is about to make one out of my movie, The Exorcist. That's right, my signature film is about to be extended by the man who made Pineapple Express. I don't want to be around when that happens, but if there's a spirit world and I can come back, I plan to possess David Gordon Green and make his life a living hell." And he died 2 months before the movie was released. So, maybe
I don't. Is that a direct quote?
That is a direct quote. That is, well, that's what Ed Whitfield posted.
Somebody said he said.
Yeah, that he said to him.
Okay. But that's not him. Not okay. I think there's probably some paraphrasing in there, but like I understand his sentiment.
Yeah, I am not a fan of this movie. I give this movie a 0. I don't give it a low sidekick.
No, it's a 0.
I did not care. Oh, I'm sorry.
I pushed it to a 0.
I didn't care for it. I guess that's the thing. I never the possession movies we've talked about them many times.
Mm-hmm.
I was more intrigued by the Pope's Exorcist with the priest with Russell Crowe's story with him doing it. The Exorcism of God. We talked about there were some cool effects with that. If the actor who played the priest was better, I think I would have liked that movie even more. So we've done a lot of exorcism type movies, especially this year. This one is below all of them. Like it's just not as good. We don't get a good story around what happened to the girls.
No,
you get in the woods. You get a line dropped by the mother of one of them, stating that there was, I don't know the passage again. I'm not a religious person. That Jesus was gone 3 days before he was resurrected because he was in hell. Whatever, claiming whatever. I don't know what it was, but that's how they were trying to tie that they were gone for 3 days and why they didn't have memory because they went to hell. And I'm like, okay. Give me more of that. Explain more of that. Give me more of them being possessed and why. And give me more of the possession and how they're fighting it. They get a whole bunch of different religious people together and try to hold their own exorcism.
They're throwing all the religions at them.
And it was just like, it felt like a hodgepodge.
Are we in spoilers yet?
We're in spoilers.
Okay. I love that the whole movie... They're like waiting for this fucking Catholic priest who wants to really badly to help, but he's been told no, and he's out in his car and he's really struggling to decide what he's gonna do.
And he's praying in his car,
and he fucking comes in, and there's like this Avengers moment where it's like boom, like it's like slow motion. Everyone stops and turns, and you hear the footsteps, and you see the boots front and center. Boom, boom, come to the screen, and his camera pans up, and it's the Catholic priest. And he's there to do battle, and he walks in and he dies immediately. It was
a good death, at least.
That part was good. I think that I was saying the best scene I think was when what's Reagan's mom's name? Chris.
Oh yeah, when she got stabbed with a crucifix.
Yeah, she got crucifixed in her eyes. She got blinded. She got turned into fucking homeboy from Rebels and tossed into a hospital bed for the rest of the movie. She is introduced for nothing more than for them to be able to play a little bit of that original Exorcist theme for a hot second, and then make her be a thing that they can cut away to, not a person, a thing, an object that they can cut away to constantly for the rest of the movie, and show her still alive, living in bed with a blindfold on.
And I did not like that. I did not like that at the end we get, what's her face showing up for real for a split second.
Oh, Reagan, I'm back, Mom.
And I'm like, Please
Why?
don't make this into. Yeah, you're right. It is Chris. So I was trying to look that
Like,
up.
but why?
Or that's her.
Why are you back? Why would you be back? Well, someone's like, hey man, fucking remember that shit you went through when you were a kid and the fucking demon possessed you? You're like, oh yeah, that shit was wild. They're like, that shit happened over here. You're like, you know what? I better go over there and check it out. No.
You know what? I would have
No.
been. I would have been
You go
happier
how far
if
away? I need to go
it
as far away from that as possible.
if they made Reagan come back into this and be Linda Blair and have this whole knowledge of it, because she spent her whole life now studying and researching this stuff because of what she's gone through.
That would have been cool. Instead, they play it as though she's just a mom.
Yeah.
Just
And
a lady living her life.
and that's fine, but then just don't bring these.
Yeah, then don't
these
bring her
characters
back.
I don't know. I just
Yeah, if you're gonna bring Reagan back, she needs to come in with like a fucking bandolier with like holy water and crucifixes. Like
you ever see that movie
fucking
Repossessed?
crossbow and shit with a cool hat. You know, she fucking busts in with the wind, blows her scarf.
There was a
Shit,
comedy.
Reagan's in.
There was that comedy that I think she was in it as well, but it was Leslie Nielsen, called Repossessed, and it was like a comedy based on The Exorcist, and it kind of reminded me of, like, not to say that that reminded me of that, but I'm like, it should have been more of that than what we got.
Well, obviously, I wouldn't really want her showing up like that. That'd be like more like a Robot Chicken sketch. But if you're gonna have it, I agree, Lil. Like, have her be like a professor of fucking religious studies somewhere, and she's just all in. You know, she took power over this shit.
Right? Yeah. She. I mean, and they try to make the mom the expert, which is fine, but give me more. Give me more of that, or more explaining of all the different things.
Instead, it's like a CW plot where she's like, she wrote a tell-all book, and Reagan's mad, so they don't talk anymore. It's like, oh god.
Yeah, it's not much more.
I'm sure you feel real bad about it, Chris, in your fucking penthouse in the Hollywood Hills. Good
Yeah,
lord.
because I'm sure they made a lot of movies based on all the stuff that you've just written about. I don't know, man. It's like,
But they do kill one of the girls. Fucking drag that little girl straight to hell. God,
which is crazy. Like, that was a crazy thing that I was thinking about. I'm like watching the end, and I'm like, that's pretty insane. Like, so the demon was saying that they have to choose one kid, and the mom,
one demon possessed both girls. So.
yes, and that's the other thing too, because I'm pretty sure, and I did not look this up, but I remember the demon was Pazuzu in the first Exorcist, because they talk about that in The Simpsons, and that's why I know, because my it's one of Ava's favorite episodes, and I'm pretty sure it's the same demon. This demon had a different name, but it acted like she knew the mom. You know, she knew Reagan's mom, and I'm like, no, that's not the same demon. Unless, like, they're, all the demons talk and hang out at the fucking bar and say, hey, But I'm pretty sure it's Pazuzu, and I was pissed by that plot hole as well. But yeah, so the one demon that possessed them both said you got to choose one girl, and they were trying to make them choose. The mom of the one girl was, no, we're not choosing. We're not choosing. We're not choosing.
So did the dad too.
The dad of the other girl was not choosing. The other dad ran off like a bitch, and he did that most of this second half of the movie. Just ran off like a little bitch, and then he picked his daughter, and
the old switcheroo.
Yeah, his daughter was the one that died. It was like, oh, the demon's messing with you, but the demon wasn't exorcised. The demon just disappeared because he picked her, and then the demon took his soul and left. I was like, all right, that's how we're running it. That's it. I did think that was. Oh, don't worry about your dog. It's fine. Unless you need to go.
I do. Something's going on. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You'll just have to do the magic of editing. There was like somebody knocked on my door, and then there was like a bunch of noise on the other side, and then my dog started barking.
That's
Like,
fine.
what the fuck is going on? So I'll try to get back into position.
That's fine. You don't have to get into it. It's fine.
Right.
You're
Okay.
I forgot what I was saying.
We were talking about the girl that went to
the
hell.
girl died. Yeah, so it was very interesting that they killed the girl. I'm like, the only scene that actually got me where I was like, oh god damn, like this is terrible, was when at the very end when she goes back to school and looks at that desk and the empty desk. I was just like, oh boy, that's tough. Like, I don't know if I'd be going back to school. Like, I wouldn't go back to that school. Like, you went through this whole traumatic thing. It's just crazy.
Well, and you know, you have the parents. They're of the girl that died meeting at the diner, you know, and like what do you even do? You know, like you made the call, but it was just the wrong call. You know, like
you thought you were doing right by your daughter by killing another girl. Like,
I don't know. Like, you know, it's what a position to be put in as a parent. You know, it's that part, that conundrum. But that stuff wasn't. I don't think that stuff was explored enough and effective. Like, it asked those questions, but it didn't really give you time to really sit with them or get anything out of them. It moved very quickly through all of this emotional stuff at the end. It was like speed through this, speed through this, speed through this, quick shot, quick shot, quick shot, dumbass slow shot on Reagan walking into the hospital room, touching her mom's hand, coming into focus, walking through the camera, back down. Like, good Lord, like like that's what I mean about the cash grab with the older actors. Like they're throwing them in there. Like they get through all of the final story stuff with our main focus of the story so fast, but then give you this long ending for these two, and it's just like, but why?
Well, not even that. Like, you know, so like David Gordon Green did it right in the first Halloween with Jamie Lee Curtis, right? Like, we're following her story. So
and she made choices that seemed logical. She Kevin McAllister her house. She's ready to go.
So you want to tell me now a sequel to The Exorcist? You tell it to me from the point of view of Reagan. Like, if you want to make a direct sequel, that's the direct sequel.
Reagan's daughter gets possessed.
It's Reagan's daughter or Reagan's daughter's friend, or like, you know, it's some kind of attachment to this where she is now back involved where she doesn't want to be, where she doesn't need to be. Like, because even in Halloween, right? Like they threw out all the mythology. No, it's not her brother. It's none of this stuff. It was just the random. It was the babysitter killer, right? He's not supernatural. All that other shit is just not. That's not happening. He was caught. And in this, it's the same thing. If you want to throw the lore out the window and go right from a direct sequel from the original, that's where you kick it off, right? Instead of going through all this and then shoehorning this at the end. And I think that's where, to me, I was lost. I was really hoping for something better. Or you don't throw The Exorcist name in the title.
Well, so that's what I'm saying. Like you said you weren't a big fan of The Exorcist. That's fine. But it's kind of like saying, like, let's say you weren't a big fan of the Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Even if you weren't, you can't deny the weight that it holds in the genre.
I agree.
And The Exorcist is the same way. So it's like you throw your name on that. It's the same. We treated Halloween the same way every time. You know, it's like you have to live up to once the bar gets moved up to that notch, that's where it sits, and you have to at least try to be better than that. Otherwise, you're
right. And you know what? If you want to do something like that where you don't tie directly, then call this Believer, right? Just call it Believer, and then bring it in. And then when everybody's watching in the theater for the first time, and then they see her, and then they see, oh shit, this is from that same world.
Well, and it also needs to be said that this was part of a duology. There was supposed to be two movies, Exorcist Deceiver was also supposed to be in the pipeline. This was supposed to tell one big story. So maybe that therein lies some of our problem. Maybe some of these things would be addressed in a further movie. But as it sits, this movie got beat up with the critics, beat up with the audience, and didn't make any fucking money. And it doesn't, I don't, if they are going to make a sequel to this, David Gordon Green ain't going to have nothing to do with it. I can guarantee you that.
Not to say that that's too bad, but if you're going to make a movie like that, then you need to film these back to back, and you're going to have these out quicker.
Boom, boom, right?
Yeah, because I think that's part of the problem too. And I get COVID happened, right? So Halloween ends, you couldn't have avoided it, you know, but like there was still a decent amount of time between Halloween and Halloween kills, right? There was still a decent amount of time between those two. And like, if you're trying to tell this continuous story, fucking film it.
I guess I'm just like confused, right? Like when you have stuff like these big movies like this, like you would think that there's somebody in the room that looks at the script and looks at the director and goes, now wait a second. Like, what are we actually doing? Like, I just don't. Maybe it is that Monday morning quarterback shit. Maybe it's that, you know, it's super easy to call plays from your couch. Maybe it is that. And you know, I've never made a movie, so far be it from me to fucking criticize anybody from what they're doing. I'm just doing it as a viewer. And it just seems like some of the story complaints that we're having are basic stuff that, you know, if I can see it, that's a problem because I'm no fucking film genius. So
none of us are, but we're watching like a lot of the movies we watch. We're like, how did you miss this? Or what story are you trying to tell? And then when you see, like you said, it's being lambasted everywhere, well, then we're not the only ones who are seeing it this way.
Sure. I mean, and everybody does it. You know, how many times do we make one little change and suddenly in our eyes, we made the movie a million times better to us, right?
Yeah.
But there's probably many people out there that'd be like, no, that would suck. I wouldn't like that. You know, it's all kind of, you know, fluid, but.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Exorcist Believer.
Yeah, just
if you saw it, let us know. If you haven't, you know, if you do end up seeing it, let us know. We'd be curious. So that's it for tonight. This is a little.
And this is Steven. Until tomorrow night, everybody, keep it creepy.